Start Over Strong, Life After a DUI, a podcast for people, not offenders. Brought to you by Smart Start, the nation's most trusted, judgment-free ignition interlock provider.
Hello and welcome to the show, Stigma Free IID. I'm Morgan Ryan.
And I'm Izzy Varela.
Today we have a phenomenal episode for you. It's going to be short and sweet. It's what everybody is dying to know. We listen to the feedback. We get a lot of views and questions around one of my favorite episodes, what happens in the first 30 days post-DUI. So today we're going to compress that episode down and give you the nuts and bolts of the DUI toolkit.
Sure. So if you get a DUI or you're helping someone who did, this is your toolkit. These are a few things that you're going to need to do to protect your time, your money, and honestly, your peace.
Yeah. And at Smart Start, we talk to people every day, all day, who are navigating a DUI. These are friends and family members or those who are actually going through it. And when we talk about protecting your time and your peace and your wallet, we know that that is paramount. It's paramount for us at Smart Start. We really, truly exist to provide a customer service experience that is essentially stigma-free. And we know that DUIs impact everybody. They do not discriminate against socioeconomic statuses, professional levels, or ages. And we know that it's not just one type of person who gets a DUI.
Yeah, we are really here to break the stigma and to give you real practical guidance.
Yep. Okay. So starting out, number one, in your DUI toolkit, you need to talk to an attorney. Now, we do have a full-blown episode on this about how to go about finding an attorney, including visiting avvo.com. We did have that episode with expert Steve Luce, but talking to your attorney is really essentially key. This is really number one, mainly because DUI laws are going to vary dramatically state over state, especially in terms of your own DUI. Sometimes there's aggravating factors, and that can determine whether, for example, you're looking for a private attorney versus a public defender. And I do know that in some states, it's as little as like 7 to 15 days before you have to sometimes request a hearing to protect your license in some cases. So there are additional facts in terms of why you should talk to an attorney first. Some require, like I mentioned, an administrative license suspension timeline, and that happens immediately. Number two, some states do require a separate criminal court process that's basically parallel to like a formal DMV action or any of those processes. And then missing even one deadline, which is not good. We don't want you to end up in that situation, can mean an automatic license suspension. And so studies do show as well that individuals that are represented by an attorney are more likely to receive reduced charges. Yep, that's right, folks. Reduced charges and more manageable sentencing outcomes. So number one, talk to an attorney.
And number two, get your Ignition Interlock installed early. So if your state requires it, don't wait. Go ahead and get that done. The CDC reports that Ignition Interlocks reduce a repeat DUI offense by about 70% while installed. So that's a very powerful number, up to a 70% reduction. Many states now require interlocks even for first-time offenders. Some states require a specific compliance period between 6 and 12 months. It really depends on the state to be violation-free. So we are going to position Smart Start. We help you understand your state requirements so you don't accidentally add months to your program. It does happen. So you really work with someone that knows what they're doing. Smart Start does do that, and we'll keep you to the amount of months that are required on your program.
And it really is a stigma-free experience. Izzy, can you talk to them real quickly about our program advisor team, which you lead?
Yes, correct.
We're very proud of our program advisor team, and just explain what that would be like. For me personally, if I got a DUI, if I had a friend or loved one that got a DUI, what that experience would be like with them.
So we specifically select our program advisors to be empathetic through the process. We want them to seek to understand. They are your first pretty much touch on your process and getting the program implemented. They will help you through state-specific requirements. They are going to ask questions. They're going to seek to understand your vehicle. They really do run you through the process in a way that is at your pace, the way you want to be consulted, and making sure that you fully understand how we're going to run the program. So the program's success is completion, and our program advisors really help you get there, making sure that they're setting up that exchange between your monitoring authority and Smart Start and themselves to make sure that you are successful in the program.
I think too, a big indicator of success for us is we truly have state experts
Correct.
because no DUI is the same, Texas versus California versus Illinois or New York, for example. And is it true that our program advisors are educated state over state with those specific requirements?
Correct. Yeah, they do understand the nuance and complexities of each state. And to your point, Morgan, Texas is different than Oregon. Oregon's different than Pennsylvania. Each state has different requirements, and they understand that it's not a cookie cutter process that they put you through for every single customer. It's different based on where you reside and what your monitoring authority requires. So, Smart Start specifically trains our program advisors to be experts in each state.
That's great. And it's mainly because we also don't want anyone who's going through a DUI to end up in a situation with a predatory company. There are plenty of competitors out there that are quite predatory, and they want to sign you up for much longer than what your stipulation even is. And so with Smart Start and our Ignition Interlock Device program, you can trust that our program advisor team is going to walk you through the details of your DUI in your specific state.
Correct. And there is no long-term contracts, which is different than a lot of people in the industry. So as you complete your program, with the state, you complete it with Smart Start.
That's great. And number 3, we have get your SR22 insurance, get that SR22 in place. And I did want to have a quick clarification here. We are not an insurance provider at Smart Start. We do have a partnership that we work with where it's sort of synonymous getting your IID and your SR22. SR22 is a certificate that is provided by your insurance company. Essentially, it's called a binder, and it's there for you on your insurance. And it is different state over state in the amount of requirement, the amount of time that you have to have it. Sometimes it's 1 year, sometimes it's up to 3 years, depending on your state. And it is required in most UI cases. And so that's why we say that it's kind of synonymous with your IID. Typically, it is required, like I mentioned, for 1 to 3 years. And if it does lapse because you are essentially deemed a high-risk driver, your insurance company will notify the DMV, and that can also trigger resuspension in your case. So we do have, again, a partnership. It's an SR22 bundle that we highly recommend. Our program is special and unique in that it's going to save you or could save you up to thousands of dollars because there are no broker fees. And that is an incredible market differentiator for you during that process. So number 3, get your SR22.
Yes. And number 4, your alcohol assessment. So this is usually a standardized screening tool. Fact, many states use evidence-based screening instruments to determine risk level and appropriate education or treatment placement. HSA supports structured alcohol screening and early intervention because research shows early intervention reduces future substance-related harm. So a few key points. It will determine your class hours. It may determine counseling requirements, and it can influence probation conditions. So do it early. Waiting till the last minute does really compress your deadline, so you want to get this done early. So again, number 4 is complete your alcohol assessment.
And number 5 is your victim impact panel, or your VIP. These are often required state over state, and they're generally run by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MAD. I'm sure it's not a shocker that we also have a partnership with MAD where we run these nationally. And as you can tell, we have thought of everything along the way. We do have an end-to-end process. We do have a podcast episode with Megan Carter from MAD that talks a little bit more in detail about the victim impact panel. What I will say about the victim impact panel experience is they are designed essentially to reduce repeat offenses. So you're essentially going in and you're sitting down and you're listening to a panel of those who have been, for example, affected by a drunk driving fatality, maybe those who have are a former offender themselves. And we've seen that because of VIPs, it's going to help reduce recidivism. And we know that research shows that exposure to real life experiences is also going to help with future accountability. And I understand that some of these are emotional, and that's really the point and the purpose, because you are here to take accountability. Again, you've made a mistake. That mistake does not define you, and that mistake is not who you are. And the process of understanding the impact through a victim impact panel can be incredibly helpful as you continue to take accountability. So my advice is to schedule early your victim impact panel. confirm your court-approved order to do so, and then keep completion of documentation. We do have another episode about judges specifically, which I highly recommend watching. It is with our expert, Steve Luce, and it talks about how to win the heart and mind of your judge, and this is one way that you can do that. We also talk about pretrial diversion within that episode as well. So again, victim impact panel, that's number 5.
And number 6, I want to tackle this with you, Morgan. So build your discipline toolkit. So this is a mental and physical discipline. I think you have something special when it comes to kind of this, dealing with this. Can you talk a little bit about what you would go to?
I do. I am, as you know, Izzy, huge on daily discipline. I talk very regularly on my own personal Instagram and on this platform for Stigma-Free IID with Smart Start in terms of the power of movement and movement as a mechanism of reform in your life. I believe very wholeheartedly that things like working out, fitness in general. I love Pilates. We've done, Izzy, an episode with the Pilates princess, Molly Denman herself. She talks about in that episode the impact of, protein and macros, and if you do consume alcohol and how women's bodies metabolize alcohol differently than men. And so the moral of the story is the APA actually does report that regular physical activity significantly reduces stress, anxiety, and depressive symptoms. So if you are going through something like addiction, if you're just a mom that's stressed out and you end up with a DUI, if you're going through calibration, I am a strong proponent of doing daily discipline. This can mean a 20-minute daily walk. This can mean strength training, Pilates, like I mentioned. We're going to have to get you in a lifetime Pilates
I will
studio.
definitely try Pilates. I've heard it's really good for conditioning and really good for
You
muscle
heard
growth.
the
So,
commitment here and now,
Yes.
folks. We will get you a Pilates episode with Izzy. But it is also a morning routine. It's a daily routine. And then obviously, I highly encourage listening to the Stigma-Free IID podcast. This is an easy way to get through your calibration with a daily discipline and a way that's going to help you get your dignity back. Compliance is going to handle your license, essentially, as you go through this process. But discipline is going to rebuild your dignity. Any final thoughts, Izzy, on this? I know you are a huge proponent for daily discipline as well.
I think routine is critical. So breaking a cycle, the routine for a lot of people can kind of be decompressing or alleviating stress in ways that can be harmful, right? Your glass of wine after a hard day's work can turn into 2. That throws off your routine the next day. For me, it's been really about focus. So I know my day starts off with a workout. It's early rise, get the workout in, and then to the office. I end those days in a much better way, less stress, really focused on what I'm supposed to do. My mission is complete. But it's not day one that it happens, right? So you have to really remind yourself that setting up a discipline can take time. You have to give yourself grace. A missed workout is okay here and there, but if you really focus on getting into a routine, that really helps you get into a place where you can actually come to recovery.
Yeah, that's great. It's almost like structure is going to reduce your impulsive behavior maybe later in the day.
It definitely does. So if you know that you're going to go work out that morning, you're less likely to fall back into old habits.
Wonderful. Again, number 6, daily discipline as a form of reform.
Number 7, so know your removal plan early on. Understand removal before you even install. So here's the structure. Judicial states, judge controls the duration. The administrative states, the DMV controls duration. And then compliance-based states, violation-free period required. So many states require a final compliance report. Some require final calibration. Some require proof of completed classes before a removal authorization.
And that's right. So removal, essentially, which is, again, we're coming to the end of the toolkit. Removal is not automatic in many states. And as Izzy mentioned, we have compliance states, judicial states, we have administrative states. And so, again, you can call our program advisor team. We're happy to walk you through all the details of your specific situation. And that includes those that have a DUI in one state and maybe moving to another state. And some states do require a final calibration, which is key. Many states do require, as you mentioned, a final compliance report and then proof of completed classes in some circumstances before they will even authorize removal.
Yeah, so the paperwork delays can push removal out weeks. We do have compliance-based experts that help customers understand the removal pathway, so that way you're not surprised at the end.
And as I understand as well, specific to removal, a violation that occurs within 30 to 90 days in some states it can happen at any point in time. It's going to essentially
Extend, yes.
restart your clock in some cases or extend your stipulation. So that's a very important key I wanted to mention. And as you mentioned, paperwork delays can also push out that actual removal date.
So we can move on to the Reddit question.
Yes, we do have a question from Reddit, one of our favorite audiences. So I will read the question here for you, Izzy. I got a DUI 2 weeks ago and I feel completely overwhelmed. The court gave me paperwork. The DMV sent something in the mail. My insurance is talking about SR22, and someone has now mentioned what is an ignition interlock device. I don't even know where to start. What order am I supposed to do all of this in, because I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up and get in more trouble?
It's overwhelming. It really can be, and we fully understand that. That's the reason why we're doing this episode and compressing a lot of the episodes that we've done into one, so it can be something you can reference as you're going through the process. Everything does hit at once: the court, the DMV, insurance, interlock. It does really feel chaotic. But when you understand the order and you establish a process and you have a clear plan, it can go from being a crisis to being really manageable, and understand that you are checking things off of a list. And the program is meant to be steps of success, right? You complete one part of it, you move on to the next. It does feel like you're working through a process, and that you do have a structure. So ultimately, what I would recommend is that you have a plan, you write that plan down, you look at the successes as you go, you seek advice, you seek counsel, watch the episodes. We put a lot of this down in clear language where you can really understand what the process feels like, and it is stigma-free. And then work with partners and companies that you trust that will remove the stigma and really help you get through the process. That's what my recommendation is.
Thank you so much, folks, for joining this episode today. We hope that this DUI toolkit gave you all the tools that you need in a compressed fashion to get through this process. Please continue to partner with us and treat us as your personal concierge with, again, stigma-free judgment along the way. You can visit www.smartstartinc.com for more information, and you can also get your first 2 payments free with coupon code STIGMAFREE.
Or call 844-766-0156 and seek some personal advice on your journey.
Thank you again for joining the episode today. I'm Morgan Ryan.
And I'm Izzy Varela.
Until next time,
Stay safe, drive smart.